I always thought loyalty meant staying, no matter how much it hurt. That walking away was a weakness. Something selfish people did when things got hard. That belief kept me trapped for years. In my family, loyalty was measured by how much you were willing to endure in silence. If you complained, you were ungrateful. If you set boundaries, you were selfish. If you wanted space, you were accused of abandoning everyone. So I stayed. I stayed through constant criticism. Through emotional pressure disguised as concern. Through expectations that were never discussed, only enforced. From the outside, we looked like a normal family. No shouting, no visible chaos. But inside, everything revolved around control. Every decision I made had to be justified. Every choice questioned. Every success minimized. If something went wrong, it was my fault. If something went right, it was what was expected. I learned quickly that peace only existed when I agreed. So I agreed. I agreed to plans I didn't want. To roles I didn't choose. To responsibilities that drained me. And the more I gave, the more was demanded. What hurt the most wasn't the pressure. It was the way my feelings were dismissed. Whenever I tried to explain how overwhelmed I felt, I was met with the same responses. You're overreacting. That's just how family works. You should be grateful. Grateful. That word followed me everywhere. I started doubting myself, questioning my emotions, wondering if I really was the problem. Slowly, I stopped talking. I became quieter, more careful, more distant, even while physically present. At night, I lay awake replaying conversations in my head, thinking about what I should have said differently. How I could have avoided tension. How I could have been better. But no matter how much I tried, it was never enough. The breaking point didn't come during a fight. It came during a moment that should have been simple. I was sharing something important to me, a goal I had worked toward for years. Something that made me feel proud. Instead of support, I saw disappointment. They told me it wasn't practical. That I was thinking only about myself. That I should focus on what mattered to the family. In that moment, I realized something painful. My happiness was always optional. Their comfort was not. That realization stayed with me. I began noticing patterns I had ignored for years. How love was conditional. How approval depended on obedience. How silence was rewarded. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. I started pulling back emotionally, even though I was still there physically. The distance wasn't intentional at first. It was survival. My body was exhausted. My mind constantly tense. Even small interactions felt heavy. I knew something had to change, but the idea of leaving terrified me. Family doesn't leave. Family sacrifices. Family endures. That's what I had been taught. But I started asking myself a different question. What if enduring was destroying me? That question led to weeks of internal conflict. I imagined the consequences. The guilt. The judgment. The loneliness. I imagined being talked about. Misunderstood. Painted as the villain. But then I imagined staying. Years more of silence, of shrinking, of explaining my worth. And I realized something. Staying was already costing me everything. The decision didn't come with confidence. It came with exhaustion. One quiet morning, I knew I couldn't do this anymore. Not dramatically, not angrily, just honestly. I didn't have a detailed plan. I just knew I needed distance. Packing my things felt surreal. Each item reminded me of how long I had stayed. How much I had tolerated. When I finally told them, the reaction was immediate. Shock, anger, then guilt. They said I was betraying the family. That I was being selfish. That I would regret it. For a moment, I almost believed them. But then I remembered how empty I had felt. How invisible. How small. And I chose to leave anyway. The first days alone were harder than I expected. Freedom didn't feel peaceful at first. It felt unfamiliar. The silence was loud. The guilt constant. I questioned myself every day. But slowly, something changed. I slept better. I breathed deeper. I noticed my body relaxing without effort. For the first time, I could hear my own thoughts. I started doing things without asking for permission. Making decisions without fear. I began to feel like myself again. Some family members reached out. Some apologized. Some blamed me. Some tried to pull me back into the same patterns. And that's when I understood the truth. Distance didn't make me selfish. It made the dynamics clear. Those who respected my boundaries stayed. Those who needed control resisted. And I finally stopped explaining myself. I learned that love doesn't require self-destruction. That loyalty shouldn't cost your mental health. And that walking away doesn't always mean giving up. Sometimes, it means choosing to live. Today, my life is quieter. Simpler. But it's mine. And for the first time, that feels like enough. If you're listening to this and feeling torn between loyalty and self-respect, remember this. You were allowed to choose peace. You were allowed to step away. You were allowed to protect yourself. Sometimes, the hardest decision is the one that saves you.